Mr. Speaker, sir, I beg to move that the bill be now read a second time. The hour is late, and I look forward to a productive and innovative debate on this important topic. In September 2017, I announced the Ministry of Trade and Industry's plan to merge International Enterprise Singapore and Spring Singapore and form a new dedicated agency for enterprise development, Enterprise Singapore. The Enterprise Singapore Board Bill will give effect to the new statutory board and replace the International Enterprise Singapore Board Act and the Standards Productivity and Innovation Board Act. Sir, enterprise development has always been an important component of our economic strategy, and indeed it's been an essential complement to our efforts to attract foreign investments. In 1973, then Minister for Finance Hon Swee Sen emphasized that our industrialization can best be brought about through broadening our international connections and through an unrelenting striving for quality in all aspects of our activities. Our own national enterprises, too, must make a greater contribution to our future industrial development. Those wise words from 45 years ago remain as relevant today. We have been resolute through the decades in our commitment to developing our enterprises, but our approach has evolved in tandem with our economy, the needs of industry, and the external environment. In our formative years, we established the Department of Trade under the Ministry of Trade and Industry, which in 1983 became the Trade Development Board. We also formed the National Productivity Board in 1972, which, together with the Singapore Institute of Standards and Industrial Research, became the Productivity and Standards Board in 1996. And these agencies subsequently became IE and Spring in 2002. Collectively, IE, Spring, and their predecessor agencies have rendered consistent and strong support to the growth of Singapore enterprises in trade, internationalization, and capability development. In 2017, Spring supported the capability upgrading of close to 40,000 companies, almost 3 times the number supported in 2010. Similarly, IE supported more than 45,000 companies in their overseas ventures last year, more than double the number supported 5 years ago. About 36,000 of these companies were SMEs. Over the years, IE and Singapore have developed deep expertise and extensive networks in support of their mission. However, there have been significant changes in the nature and pace of change in the global economy, which has profound implications for Singapore. First, the weight of global growth is shifting to Asia, which is projected to grow at about 5.8% in 2018, compared to 2.1% in advanced economies. Our companies have recognized that the rise of Asia is a major opportunity to internationalize quickly. Overseas expansion ranks among the top 5 business priorities for SMEs, and 60% of participants in the Singapore Chinese Chamber of Commerce and Industry's annual business survey had plans to internationalize over the next 3 years. So the message has been hoisted in and is being acted upon. Second, the advent of e-commerce and digital technology is making it easier than ever before to access overseas markets. Scaling up and growing beyond our borders is now possible at a much earlier stage in an enterprise's evolution, and indeed has become even more important to success. Finally, to expand into international markets, our companies must have deep capabilities so that they can compete globally. Productivity and innovation must be the basis for the sustained growth of our businesses, especially when dealing with pervasive, disruptive technologies. The confluence of these trends necessitates a different approach towards the development of our enterprises and their ability to seize the opportunities around us. In this new environment, companies need to integrate capability building, innovation, and internationalization. These areas of pursuit are deeply intertwined, and they reinforce each other. They are mutually reinforcing. A company must innovate and deepen its capabilities if it is to successfully expand into overseas markets. But equally, venturing overseas will itself create the scale and the impetus and opportunity for businesses to gain new capabilities and expertise. As highlighted by the Committee on the Future Economy, Singapore enterprises must adapt equally to these changes and quickly to remain competitive. Our economic agencies must also respond to this dynamic environment and hone their efforts to support enterprise development and internationalization. So it's necessary and timely to merge the functions and operations of IE and Spring to form Enterprise Singapore. This merger also underscores the government's commitment to review its programs and, when necessary, restructure its agencies in its continuing effort to support the growth of our businesses. So, Enterprise Singapore aims to build a thriving community of Singapore enterprises that are competitive and ready for the future economy. ESG will adopt an enterprise-centric approach, providing differentiated programs and support according to a company's stage of growth, the industry within which it operates, and its overseas markets of interest. To achieve this, ESG will deepen its knowledge of industries and companies' needs, expand its partnerships and networks in Singapore as well as overseas, and develop a cohesive suite of programs to enable enterprise growth. ESG will work with a broad spectrum of businesses, from startups to scale-ups to SMEs, and be the single point of contact for Singapore-based enterprises who are committed to growth. The agency will support upgrading, innovation, and business model transformation to capture new revenue streams. It will promote digitalization, automation, and adoption of new technologies to improve productivity and overcome resource constraints. It will facilitate expansion into overseas markets and business diversification, and it will strengthen enterprises' leadership and management capabilities. ESG's mission is central to Singapore's long-term economic strategy, especially as we enter the next phase of our economic growth. The scope of its work is wide, and the scale can be daunting, given the large number of enterprises that we are dealing with. To succeed, it is important that ESG work closely with private and public sector partners and have their full support. So the agency will deepen its partnership with trade associations and chambers, unions, and other stakeholders to reach out to our broad and diverse base of enterprises. It will also work closely with other government agencies to promote public-private partnerships, as well as collaboration between multinational corporations, large local enterprises, SMEs, and startups to enhance the collective competitiveness of our industries. I want to cite the precision engineering sector as an example of how such partnerships can be valuable. EDB, Spring, Skills Future Singapore, and Workforce Singapore worked with the Singapore Precision Engineering and Technology Association, SPETA, to enhance the industry's manpower capabilities through programs such as the Skills Framework for Precision Engineering. IE worked with Spring and a group of precision engineering SMEs to form the Singapore Manufacturing Innovation Center in Guangzhou, Knowledge City, a platform that helps our SMEs venture into a major international market and allows them to co-create innovative technology solutions with Chinese enterprises. SPETA worked with IE and Spring to set up a group of industry veterans to advise SMEs on business and technology strategies. So by leveraging on each other's strengths, public agencies and TACs can help our companies compete internationally. The formation of Enterprise Singapore will give greater impetus to such partnerships. As the national standards and accreditation body, ESG will build on Spring's efforts to develop internationally recognized standards and quality assurance, which have burnished Singapore's reputation for high quality and trustworthy products and services. The agency will continue this important work, which is key to promoting innovation and strengthening the capabilities and competitiveness of our companies. ESG will also build on IE's efforts to promote the export of goods and services and establish Singapore as Asia's foremost trading hub by anchoring new players in Singapore to grow a strong domestic trade network. This includes strengthening Singapore's trade infrastructure in areas of product development and liquidity building initiatives for sectors such as commodity derivatives. ESG will take over from IE as the lead agency for the wholesale trade industry transformation map to build a vibrant ecosystem of wholesale traders supported by talent with the right skill sets for the industry. Spring's consumer protection fair trading function will be transferred to the Competition Commission of Singapore. The new Competition and Consumer Commission of Singapore will oversee all regulations and enforcement pertaining to consumer protection and ensuring a well-functioning market for the benefit of businesses as well as consumers. So in this entire process to establish Enterprise Singapore and make other consequential adjustments, a smooth transition has been the utmost priority. This means ensuring that the competencies, knowledge, experience, and networks developed by IE and Spring are preserved. Also, that ESG will retain and build on the relationships that IE and Spring have developed with enterprises and partners, both here in Singapore and overseas. And that current programs and schemes, such as the Local Enterprise and Association Development Scheme, continue to be administered even as they are streamlined and new programs developed to better support enterprises. ESG will undertake these in a manner that will minimize disruption and maximize opportunities for our enterprises and the staff. So having explained the rationale for the bill and the role that ESG will play, let me now describe the main elements of the bill. The bill comprises 10 parts. Parts 1 and 2 of the bill provide for the key concepts used in the bill and to establish ESG. Part 2 also sets out ESG's functions and powers, which are drawn and streamlined from existing provisions in the Spring and IE Board Acts. These cover the enterprise development, internationalization, wholesale and commodity trading, and productivity, innovation, and standards functions that Spring and IE currently perform. The Consumer Protection Fair Trading function has been excluded in view of the transfer to CCCS. Parts 3 to 6 cover matters regarding the appointment of ESG's board members and their decision-making procedures, ESG's employees, and its financial provisions. Relevant provisions have been aligned and streamlined with the Public Service Governance Act, which was passed in Parliament on 8 January this year. Part 7 of the bill sets out the administration and enforcement powers of Enterprise Singapore. In particular, this part will allow ESG to request and verify information in relation to its incentive schemes. It will also protect against improper use of certification and accreditation marks that are administered by ESG. These provisions will facilitate the effective administration of incentives and grants and better support ESG in its role as the national standards and accreditation body. Parts 8 and 9 contain provisions that transfer the relevant undertakings and personnel to ESG to repeal the IE and Springboard Acts and provide for saving and transitional arrangements. Finally, Part 10 of the bill makes consequential and related amendments to other acts. In particular, the Competition Act will be amended to update CCS's statutory functions to include the promotion of fair trading, prevention of unfair practices among suppliers in Singapore, advising relevant organizations on consumer protection matters generally, and the enforcement of the Consumer Protection Fair Trading Act. As mentioned earlier, CCS will be renamed CCCS to reflect its new statutory consumer protection function. This part also provides for the transfer to the new CCCS of Spring's assets, employees, liabilities, and records relating to the fair trading functions. So, as a single enterprise development agency, Enterprise Singapore will be able to provide the holistic support that our businesses need to develop deep capabilities, robust internationalization strategies, and strong partnerships with industry stakeholders. Just as companies must adapt to keep pace with changes in the global economy, government agencies and their programs must also respond with agility to the shifting needs of industries and enterprises. I'm confident that with the merger of IE and Spring and the integration of their operations to form Enterprise Singapore, we will be well placed to work closely with all stakeholders to transform our industries and grow stronger Singapore companies and a vibrant enterprise ecosystem to seize growth opportunities in the future economy. Sir, I beg to move.